Hello everyone, Galaxy Wolf here. Today we're going to be reading Sweetener Hides Bitterness by ABSOLUTE06. Here's the summary. Aizawa was preparing to teach a new class of wannabe heroes. But before that, he found a teen with the perfect quirk. He can create coffee from air. So he hired the teen as his assistant and personal walking coffee machine. Turns out Mr. Coffee knows one of his new students, and for some reason the number one hero All Might is scared shitless of. The kid. Is it Midoriya's white hair, or is All Might just being a weirdo? Now that that's done with, let's get started. The doctor saw his patient's mother was very nervous. He had a theory as to why. She has quirkless people in her family and worries her son may not inherit the quirk gene. Mrs. Midoriya, your son does have a quirk, it should kick in soon, in fact, spoke the doctor. He saw her relaxing. Good, he hates interacting with hysterical women. The quirk in question seems to be pretty silly. Silly? Asked her son. Silly isn't exactly something that could be the quirk of a future hero. From the looks of it, you have the ability to create coffee from the air, explained the medical. You can reform the particles in the air into coffee, you drain the air. He shuffled though a few notes. I recommend draining the air away from people and objects, as they could be burnt by the drain, for lack of a better word. Coffee drainage? Asked the mother, but no one in mine nor my husband's family have coffee quirks. I know. You see, that a quirk is from a parent or a fusion of the parent's quirks is while the most common, it isn't the only outcome. He said. Quirks can be from distant relatives or be something fully original. Even something as random, and rather useless, like a coffee quirk. Useless. He has an useless quirk. That much about being a hero. Aizawa sometimes hated his life. He for sure hated his job at UA. But UA isn't important just yet. It is still break. The new term hasn't started yet. He was enjoying it as long as it lasts. He walked home from a cat cafe, though a park. Walking there, he spotted a teen with white hair lounging on a bank. The kid, to Aizawa's surprise, carried coffee cups and a shirt with the writing, "Free coffee if you let me analyze your quirk. 150 Japanese yen otherwise." Aizawa doesn't say no to free coffee. And even if 150 Japanese yen are a steal. He walked to the kid. So, you sell coffee? He asked. Where's the coffee? The kid held his hands up. To Aizawa's surprise, coffee came into existence around them. I see, it is your quirk. Wow, I didn't know those exist. I hear that often. He filled the still floating coffee into a cup. Do you want to pay or do you tell me about your quirk? Depends, why do you take quirk knowledge as payment, countered Aizawa. Besides that I am just an extreme quirk nerd, I practice to become an analyst, replied the teen. Aizawa was surprised. Not only is the kid so sure in his wish that he already works for it, it is something so niche. And he doesn't want to be a hero. All teens he met want to be heroes. To be fair, he does teach on a school for heroes, so he doesn't meet much of a different demographic. An analyst, odd choice. I can't exactly be a hero with that quirk, he replied. Ah, he does want a hero, but his quirk is, well, making coffee. What school do you attend? Maybe they have a few courses or internship relations. I attend no school, not anymore. I kinda skipped high school via online learning. Why? Asked Aizawa. The only kids doing so tend to have parents that care for prestige and want their kids to reach the best. The kid doesn't look like having these kinds of parents. Honestly, because of my quirk, I got bullied. The bullying had been so bad that my dad switched to homeschooling, explained the coffee maker. I studied in my speed, so I am finished. And bored. Have you considered getting a job? Yes, but I find nothing, replied the kid. Not even restaurants want to hire me, apparently my coffee is too unhygienic. I don't even touch it. Not to mention the burns. I sometimes hate my quirk. I think your quirk is pretty good. Not to be rude, sir, but I can smell that you're a coffee junkie. Fair, replied Aizawa. He really is. Are you here often? Ah, a new regular, I see. Yamato Hazashi was very confused when Aizawa didn't look like the Walking Dead at their meetings to prepare the new year. He soon discovered why. Nezu, I have a request for this year. Of course, Aizawa, what would it be? I want a teacher assistant. And I already have a candidate, revealed Aizawa. What are his credentials? Asked Nezu. His quirk is to create coffee from air. Of course, these are credentials you care about, chimed Midnight in. The R-rated heroine and a friend of Hazashi wasn't surprised. Anything else? He finished school at 15. Oh, a smart one, said Nezu. If you can arrange a meeting, I may hire him. I'm surprised you hadn't asked for an assistant earlier in your career. What? Asked Midoriya Izuku, hearing the news. You want to hire me, as your teaching assistant at UA? Yes, confirmed Aizawa. Well, you will mainly do coffee for me. You said you're looking for a job. Well, I would be an idiot to reject that offer. If I can't attend UA, I can work at UA. With that, Izuku and Nezu met. They clicked instantly and Aizawa wasn't sure if that is good or bad. It is Nezu we're talking about. But hey, he now has his coffee maker assistant. Right before the new school year starts. He'll need that coffee. Especially now that All Might of All Heroes works at the school. Aozawa doesn't know why, he just knows he is already very annoyed by the constant fawning over the number one. Soon after being hired, Izuku met the other staff members, including the peculiar number one. While Izuku seemed shy and as if he avoids the number one, All Might froze seeing the kid. He acted as if he saw the Antichrist or something. Was it the white hair? It makes Midoriya look pale and ghostly. All Might tried his best to not fall in panic. Did he just walk into All for One's close? Son, did the man manage to turn into a child? Is he just overreacting seeing a child with white hair? Probably the later. And now that potential demon sits with them while overviewing the newcomers for the new school year. Great. And it is all because of Aizawa's coffee addiction. After a while, Nezu decided to let the zero-pointer loose. Like expected, most of the hero hopefuls ran away from it. Aizawa stood up and Izuku followed him. In case a examinee gets trapped and can't run from the zero-pointer, a hero jump in to help them. The dedicated savior isn't here, so Aizawa takes the spot this year. Aizawa was close to the zero-pointer, eyeing it in the direction it was walking into. Izuku gave him a coffee cup. A few normal bots were roaming around. Did it ever happen that one of those stepped on someone? Asked the coffee maker. Yes, twice since I started here, replied Aizawa. They heard a yell and saw a girl stuck under debris. The zero-pointer closing in on her. Aizawa gave the cup to Izuku. Make it 3. Aizawa ran to the girl and tried to take the debris off. He was about to take the last piece off, when a 2-pointer attacked him. Aizawa wrapped it in his gear. That piece of trash is malfunctioning. The robot grabbed the gear and spun Aizawa around. Izuku dropped the cup in shock. Aizawa was busy with the malfunctioning bot and the zero-pointer was still moving. Looking around, Izuku saw none other jumping in. Izuku felt his body run on his own. He created steaming hot coffee around himself and shot the zero-pointer with it. He also summoned coffee around the zero-pointer. The created heat melted the machine. The zero-pointer fell to the ground. Thank God Nezu managed to give him a minor duty quirk license. Izuku walked to the girl and took the last debris off of her. This wasn't supposed to happen, he told her. Can you walk? No, she replied. Izuku picked her up. He carried her off the field and saw Aizawa smashing the malfunctioning robot. Aizawa walked to them. Izuku, remind me to tell Nezu to check the bot's code, said Aizawa. He then took the girl from his assistant. Aizawa then eyed the melted zero-pointer. Izuku worried to be criticized. Melting point heat, are you sure your quirk is useless? Yes. They gave the girl to Recovery Girl. They returned to the surveillance room. Nezu said, looks like I need to check the robot's code again. Oh, and Midoriya. Why yes. Are you sure you don't want to be a hero? Asked Midnight. I am sure. Oh well, we can't force you, said Nezu. What the heck is this supposed to mean? Chimed All Might in. It was now the first day of the new school year. The new class of 1A stepped through the halls for the first time. When Aizawa and Izuku walked into the room, they noted three things. The Iida boy was complaining about a different student's behavior, said student was eyeing Izuku and most of them were chatting, not on their seats. Aizawa made himself noticed and told them to get seated, to shut up and leave if they are just here to make friends. Then, they heard an explosion. Deku, what are you doing here? Yelled Bakugo Katsuki. Midoriya is my assistant, he is working for me, said Aizawa, while erasing Bakugo's quirk. Now, get changed into your PE clothes, we are doing a quirk apprehension test. The girl they saved complained they would miss orientation. While watching the test, Bakugo glared to Izuku with pure anger. Bakugo doesn't get it, the useless coffee machine was not supposed to be here. How in the world did he land a job as an assistant to a UA teacher? After that, the class introduced themselves. Bakugo called the others extras, which prompted Izuku to roll his eyes. The class then was let go to lunch. Before Aizawa and his assistant left the room, Aizawa asked what the heck is Bakugo's problem. Izuku explained his past with Bakugo Katsuki to his boss. Rumors have it he and his goons told a quirkless student to take a swan dive off a roof, mentioned Midoriya. Are you sure it was just a rumor? Asked Aizawa. He may half-ass his job here, but UA does not tolerate those kind of people. Well, the quirkless student did commit, but no one knows if it was because of Bakugo, explained Izuku. The quirkless have the highest suicide quota. Either way, this was something Nezu needed to be aware of. A while later, Bakugo was expelled from UA and other hero schools were informed of this behavior. When the parents picked their son up seriously, Katsuki. You got expelled on the first day for that. We didn't raise you to be like that. We are so disappointed in you, Katsuki. Nezu told the Bakugos, don't be too sad, some schools may be morally low enough to still accept you. Most won't, though. Before they left, Mitsuki said to Izuku, congratulations to the job, Izuku. Izuku is worried, the cracker will fault him for this. The next day, the class was introduced to All Might. But before that, they questioned why Bakugo wasn't there. Izuku explained, it was discovered that Bakugo told a quirkless student of his old school to commit suicide. Those are not tolerated by UA, so he got expelled. The class was shocked by this but accepted this. People like him should not be heroes, said Iida. Can you expel Mineta next? Asked Asui. Then they met All Might. Izuku gave his best not to get a fanboy attack. The man in question stopped in his tracks when he saw Izuku. Right, that is Aizawa's class. The one with the coffee demon. It hadn't gone unnoticed by 1A that All Might acted weird around their assistant teacher. Todoroki started to wonder why. Why would this normal student catch the hero off guard? At their battle trials, Izuku analyzed the heck out of the class. In other words, he did All Might's job, who was more busy to side-eye Izuku. Maybe they met once, wondered Todoroki. No, that won't explain this reaction from All Might. The next day, Izuku decided to go to the cafeteria for lunch. Tasting lunch rush's food was on his bucket list. While looking for a seat, he spotted Uraraka Ochako, who gestured him to join her. As soon as he sat down, Todoroki joined as well. Uraraka was already sitting with Iida and Asui. So, you are Aizawa's assistant. How did you land the job? Asked Asui. It is actually pretty funny. You probably have noted that Aizawa is a coffee addict, replied Izuku, adding a question. Yes, Kiro, answered Asui, is your quirk related to coffee? Exactly, I can essentially create coffee from air, he explained while demonstrating his quirk. Well, more specifically, I can turn the molecules in the air into coffee. So, you're a walking coffee machine. Perfect for Aizawa, said Uraraka. And this explains why it smelled like coffee when you saved me at the exam. I wanted to thank you for that. You're welcome, he said. May I ask why you're working and not in school yourself? Asked Iida. Oh, I already finished high school. He told them what he told Aizawa. I don't feel like going to university just yet. Partly because I don't really know what to pursue. I consider becoming a quirk analyst, but it feels so disappointing to pursue the plan B. Understandable. What was your plan A, then? Asked Todoroki. I, like many others, wanted to be a hero, he revealed. But my quirk is ill-suited for that. But you saved me, said Uraraka. I am sure you can be a hero. I appreciate your positivity, Uraraka, but I just can't, replied Izuku. Saving you was just a lucky shot. If you say so, said Asui. Doesn't sound like you tried to become a hero. Asui, said Iida. How dare she insulting their, despite the age, superior. Then, an alarm rang. The students ran around like a bunch of headless chicken. It took a while that they calmed down after it turned out that the alarm was triggered by media people of all things. Izuku was accompanying the class to the unforeseen simulation joint. Arriving there, it was clear as daylight that All Might is running late. Izuku noted fast that his favorite hero seemed to dislike him. It was quite disheartening, he had never done anything to anger the man. He considered to fix whatever he had done, but Aizawa said not to bother, All Might is an idiot and not worth it. He was standing with Aizawa and 13, the later one explaining their task at hand. At some point, Aizawa saw Midoriya flinching. After that, a bunch of portals opened. And villains stepped out. One of them, seemingly the leader of that group, was plastered with hands. Talk about a fetish. Midoriya, use your quirk in self-defense, said Aizawa. Students, stay behind us. Izuku didn't argue that his quirk won't do shit, but with villains here, maybe he can cause a few nasty burns. Coffee can one thing, it is hot, it can burn you. Ask that woman who sued a fast food chain because she burned herself on her coffee. The hand job sniffed the air. Coffee. He scanned his opponents, his eyes resting on the coffee maker. Oh, Izuku, didn't expect you to be here. But this will make it easier. A portal, made by their portal maker, appeared under him. He was dropped in front of the hand job. Hello, Tamura. His class wasn't able to hear what he said or what Tamura replied. Hello, Izuku. Long time not seen. He eyed Izuku's employment badge. You landed a job at UA. How ironic. Why are you here, Tamura? Why the heck did you bring a Nomu? Asked Izuku. Killing All Might, of course. The Nomu is just for him, yelled Tamura, making sure the class hears him. He then said in his normal volume, and now, it is a chance to get you back. Tell me, doesn't All Might act weary around you? Well, yes. How there is a spy, isn't there? Realized Izuku. Exactly. One that also told me R ran away landed a job as a teacher assistant, said Tamura. With a coffee quirk at that. You wanted to hide, yet you're in the spotlight. They will have questions, wanting to know why we talk. Keep out of this, now will you, Izu? Tamura stepped away from him. He commanded the villains and the Nomu to attack. Izuku considered what to do. When he saw that Kurogiri, the portal maker, moved away from him, Izuku tried to run back to the class. Nomu, grab him, yelled Tamura. Izuku felt the Nomu grabbing him. He tried to free himself, but the Nomu's pure strength overwhelmed him. He saw Aizawa attacking the Nomu, but he was smacked away. Use your quirk, yelled Aizawa. Well, better than nothing, he thought. He activated his quirk and made coffee in the air. The first batch was dumped on the Nomu's exposed brain. The direct pain caused the Nomu to drop Izuku, who used the chance to get away to the class. He was near Mineta, Kaminari and Yaoyorozu. Midoriya, behind you, yelled Mineta. Izuku looked over his shoulder, that damned Nomu was running after him. Izuku stopped and turned around. He conjured coffee before hosing the Nomu with the liquid. He then, while turning the particles of the air into coffee, tried to overhaul the Nomu's particles. Nomus aren't exactly stable, so this should work. The Nomu seemed to melt, leaving behind coffee and a boiled brain. The Nomu, yelled Tamura. Tamura jumped into a portal before jumping out of it in front of Izuku. He was now attacking Izuku. Izuku grabbed Tamura's arms before he could use his quirk on Izuku. I am here, yelled All Might, while breaking though a wall. The end boss is here, Tamura, said Izuku. He then blacked out. Izuku woke up. He felt as if he overused his quirk. Maybe he should conjure more coffee. He got a feeling Tamura will be more active, now that he knows he is with Ua. Apropos Tamura, where is he? He tried to keep Tamura from using his quirk on him, then blackness. Did Tamura bring him back? Izuku, are you okay? Asked Aizawa. Izuku looked around. He was in Ua's infirmary. Not the league, good. I think. What happened? He replied, unsure what to think. After you fainted while battling the leader, All Might saved you. The leader was unable to use his quirk, and ran with his gang, explained Aizawa. Did you turn this Nomu thing into coffee? I tried to, said Izuku. His head hurts, did it work? Well, rest. To heal from the attack, we now have a week off, so has the class, said Aizawa. I won't let both of you go until Wednesday, chimed Recovery Girl in. Now Midoriya, let me check your status. Izuku laid down. All Might saved him. Considering the man acted all weird around him, as if he was scared, this was pretty surprising. It was Wednesday. He returned home. Arriving there, his mother scolded him for going on his own and not calling her to pick him up. Mom, this is my job. It would be embarrassing for you to pick me up from work, he said. Izuku, I am just worried. Now please rest, I make you Katsuden, said Inko. Attacked by villains, maybe you should quit. I earn more than Dad sends us. I won't quit, he replied. Why it is so important to you to be independent from Hisashi, asked his mother. Izuku didn't answer, as someone was knocking on their entrance door. Inko opened it, seeing the Bakugos there. Bakugo Mitsuki was carrying a basket with sweets, a bottle of wine and cake. Oh, looks like the basket isn't needed anymore, your son is already back, said her husband. Or we use it to celebrate, said Mitsuki. That sounds great, agreed Inko. Katsuki just said his, tisk, at this. Mitsuki told him to behave. Be happy I lifted your grounding for today. Izuku was watching the class in voting for their class representative. The vote was in favor of Iida, with Yaoyorozu as his vice. He doesn't know how to feel that the privileged children of already established heroes are the representative and vice. He has to ignore these intrusive thoughts, the thoughts this piece of shit planted. His attention was soon pulled to the next point of the agenda. The class chooses their hero names. Aizawa told him for this, he will assist Midnight. Said heroine came into the room and Aizawa left, not before taking a cup of coffee from his assistant. Midnight watched how Aizawa left the room and asked Izuku, mind making me a cup as well? She asked him. Not at all. He made her a cup and gave it to her. The class watched the coffee exchange. Ishida then asked, Midoriya-san, are we allowed coffee as well? Izuku was thinking a bit. While Nezu gave him the allowance, Aizawa told him to save the caffeine for him. Only decaf. Come on, make it at least weak for them, said Midnight. Wait, can you control if it contains caffeine? Yes. In fact, I can't create caffeine. I need to consume caffeine myself to make caffeinated coffee. It is a finite resource, one pretty much reserved for Aizawa, explained Izuku. I am running low on caffeine and forgot to pack a few energy drinks, so I can't recharge. And no, I can't drink coffee. That would only change the type of coffee I can make. That's so cool, said Aoyama. Midnight then handed him one. It was more caffeinated iced tea, but it is caffeine that isn't coffee. Don't tell, now make them half decaf, half normal. Of course. He agreed. And thanks for the caffeinated tea. He gave the class coffee, the ones who wanted, and then they started to discuss their hero names. Midoriya was walking through the seats and looked at anyone's progress. Aoyama, isn't that a bit long? He asked the naval laser user. I know, but I have no idea. Maybe you can take inspiration from your suit. It is like a knight's armor, right? Proposed Izuku. After a while, Aoyama chose the twinkling hero, Naval Knight. Not optimal, but a massive upgrade from I can't stop twinkling, like Aoyama planned before Izuku intervened. After most of the class revealed their names, Uraraka asked, Midoriya, what would you choose if you would become a hero? Considering that my quirk is a joke for this, I would say a joke name. The caffeine hero, Mr. Coffee. He then was given a can of energy drink by Aizawa, who returned from wherever he was. He asked how far the class is. He was disappointed that 3 students still hadn't chosen. He said the names will be needed soon. They will do an internship after the sports festival. In moments like these, he wonders what Bakugo would do. What name would he choose? Knowing his bland admiration of All Might, probably something silly like Dynamite. But to be fair, Izuku would have done the same years ago. The sports festival came and Izuku was watching it with the other teachers. Nezu allowed him to give his mom a ticket, she was even allowed to sit in here. This was quite nice to have her. What wasn't nice was Nezu. You want to partake yourself, don't you, Midoriya? He asked. Izuku felt weird about the festival. He would love to partake himself. But he won't be a hero. Inko chimed in, well, he can't, can he? He could. He may not think of it like this, but I think his quirk could be used for heroics, said Nezu. I would enroll him in UA. I can create coffee, said Yuku, as if he had to point out what his quirk is. You melted that 0-pointer in the Nomu, said Aizawa, butting into their conversation. I don't think this is a good idea, she said. The festival then started with a race, one half frozen by the Todoroki boy. Following this was the cavalry battle. Everyone was after Iida, as he was the one with the 1,000,000 points. Last was the battles. One battle was against the students Monoma Nito and Shota Narengeki, both students of Class B. What a surprise. Monoma and Shota circled each other, waiting for the other to attack. Shota then rushed at Monoma, who dodged Shota, touching his shoulder. Monoma then smiled, then his face switched to fear. Shota, your quirk, why can't I copy it? Said Monoma confused. He liked his lips. And why do I want your blood now? Aizawa and Izuku readied themselves to jump in, they know such a comment can't be good. Aizawa was blocking Monoma's quirk, in case he reacts to the urge of blood. Izuku was brewing coffee in preparation. Espresso, pure, hot and midnight's idea. Shota then started to smile and melted silver goo. Remaining was a blonde girl in goo. She attacked Monoma with a knife. Izuku blasted her with coffee and ran to Monoma. Copy my quirk, he said. Monoma did as he was told. The girl stood up, she moved slowly, in pain because of his coffee. She attacked Izuku. Dodging her, he noted she only focused on him and ignored Aizawa and Monoma. Unless. Aizawa, I think there are more villains somewhere, he told Aizawa. How right you are, spoke Shigaraki, walking out of a portal made by Kurogiri. He was accompanied by other villains. Aizawa's gear grabbed onto Monoma and dragged him out of the field. Tamura attacked Izuku, but he was met with a stream of hot coffee. Izuku noted Tamura tried to grab him. Give it back, said Tamura. No, replied Izuku. He grabbed a cup hanging from his belt. Part of the job of a walking coffee machine is to always keep cups close by, and it turned to dust. The dust then became coffee, smacking and burning Tamura. Your quirk is quite useful, a nice addition, he whispered. Kurogiri watched this. Not just air, then. He collected Tamura and Toga, before having his portals flooded with coffee. They closed and Kurogiri flinched. Boiling hot. Turns out the coffee can burn him. Another villain Tamura found, Dabi, got his fire diminished by the coffee, he demanded to leave. I can't open, it hurts too much. In that case, I burn him, said Dabi. He wanted to flash fire Izuku, but his quirk didn't work. He saw Erasure Head, then he was wrapped in the gear. Do not fear, because I am here, yelled All Might, jumping into the field. The other villains froze seeing him, some started to run away. No one told us fucking All Might would come, yelled one of them before running. Dabi looked to Kurogiri, who then tried to force the portals open, even if he was in pain. The villains left the scene. Izuku sighed and dropped the coffee he was making. Cowards. Groundhog then came with the real Shota in tow. I think I never smelled so much coffee before. Midnight then announced the festival to be cut short. Izuku, come with me, said Aizawa. Izuku was following him to Nezu's office. His mother followed them as well. She snuck into the office when Izuku and Aizawa walked in. Ah, the Midoriyas. Good. Now, Izuku, considering the USJ incident and today, it is safe to say that the League of Villains after you. Spoke Nezu, do you have an explanation for that? Yes, I saw that you and Shigaraki were talking to each other. What about that, Midoriya? Asked All Might. You seem to know each other. All Might, are you accusing Izuku of being a spy or something? Chimed Aizawa in. He noted All Might was always skeptical of the kid. Izuku sighed and took a cup, turning it into dust. The teachers were caught off guard by this, they know this is Shigaraki's quirk. Only Inko was unfazed. I can give and take quirks, I took Shigaraki's for example, at the USJ. Because of my father, who has the same quirk, the League is after me, explained Izuku, and yes, All Might, I mean all for one with that. Who is all for one? Asked Aizawa. He is a villain with the ability to give and take quirks. He runs a wide network in the underworld. He existed since the dawn of quirks, explained All Might. So, you're his son. You don't seem to be a spy. He raised me, and now Shigaraki for that matter, to take over our bodies. Like you can guess, I won't want that. So Mom and I left and started to hide, explained Izuku. I am not a villain, because I don't associate with him. Wait, where is the coffee quirk from? Asked Aizawa. He gave it to Izuku as a cover. He originally wanted that we pretend Izuku to be quirkless, but I convinced him otherwise, as the quirkless are treated as lesser than dirt, said Inko. I used to be quirkless myself, until he gave me a quirk. In other words, wanting to be a villain would harm me, said Izuku, that's why I don't try to be a hero, I am hiding from them. In that case, Ua can provide protection, but I demand something in exchange, said Nezu. And that would be? Asked Inko. I want any intel you have on all for one, said Nezu, and I want Izuku to join Class 1A. With all your quirks. How many do you have? 3, he said, coffee drainage, all for one and an unnamed quirk that blocks me from being tracked by other quirks. Just 3, asked All Might, I assumed you would collect more. Do you think I am a hoarder like my dad? As long as there is no ethical way for me to take quirks, I won't take quirks, said Izuku. In principle Nezu, I take your offer. Class 1A was pleasantly surprised that Izuku joined their ranks. While Bakugo wasn't, after Inko told his mother, who then told him. Izuku continued to use Coffee Drain as his quirk. And he took the hero name, the caffeinated hero, Mr. Coffee. He continued to hide his version of All for One. A few weeks later, it was time for the internships. He got an offer from All Might. At first, he was skeptical, but he accepted. Arriving at All Might's agency, he asked why he was given the offer. Considering your father, you are aware of my quirk, right? Of One for All, asked All Might. Yes, and the late wielders, said Izuku. You said as long as there is no ethical way to take quirks, you won't. Well, I want to give you One for All. No. What? I don't think I should take One for All. For many reasons. One of Dad's scientists had a theory regarding One for All. Why you have noted that your predecessors lasted not as long as you, right? Said Izuku, adding a question. Yes. Does that mean something? The quirk killed them, because they already had quirks. You were quirkless before, right? Asked Izuku. I think you should find a quirkless successor. I may know a few contenders. I think you onto something, said All Might. Any other reason? I want to be a hero with my own quirks. Drainage and decay make a very efficient combo and All for One is good for critical situations, said Izuku. How comes that you can control decay? I can't. I just put it in some sort of standby. Alright, that was Sweetener Hides Bitterness by ABSOLUTE06. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you liked it, like and subscribe for more content.